Mads, it's a pleasure to sit down and have a chat with you here at 25 hours
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
in a rainy Dubai today.
It is, yeah.
Something we don't see very often. Mads, I wanted to kick straight into it. You had such a fascinating career from where you started as a kitchen assistant, I believe, to general manager here at Dubai's one of the newest hotels, certainly one of the newest iconic hotels, 25 hours. So maybe you can take us through that journey.
Definitely. So yeah, I started out as a chef many years ago, and I have already, let's say, I reached the level. So I'm from Denmark, and I was a chef in Denmark. I'm educated in a Michelin Star restaurant, and then after that, I became a head chef for a restaurant. And I was 28 years old, and I thought, this is what I have to do for the rest of my life. It seems like a very long time to do one thing. And out of the blue, one day I got a call if I was interested to go to Japan and work. And I went to Japan and I worked there as a chef consultant, F&B. And after that, I had my first introduction into to hotels. And it was a very interesting new world that opened up to me. And I saw how this whole world of hotels and 5-star and luxury and all of these things outside. And that was the first kind of introduction I had. And I went to talk with some people. I asked them how do you become a general manager for a hotel? What do you have to do? So I entered as a sous chef when I entered hotels. So I took a few steps back to get into hotels. And then I was explained the different steps of working through the hierarchy of a hotel and how to become an F&B director, how to become a hotel manager. And then I sketched out a rough plan of how to do that. And the calculation said it's something around 10 years it would take, to be on a sous chef until you're a general manager. And that was the rough plan. And I went for it. And it worked step and step and, going through all the processes, going through the different roles. And then you end up as a general manager for a very cool hotel in Dubai.
Wow, so it was a pretty intentional plan from day one.
It was from the day I joined hotels, and I could always see every step I took, I was always very happy. This is super cool, but I want to try what's next, what's coming after this. So it was always very interesting to reach somewhere, and then after that thinking, but how I'm going to get to the next level now.
Amazing. And I suppose in essence that brings us on to the next thing I wanted to talk about, which is hospitality as a career to younger people. So I don't know, sometimes people look at hospitality and they might see a lot of the service-based jobs and it might not be as exciting as other industries. But I think hospitality is like a passport to the world. If you train in, like you said, you're from Denmark, but you worked in Japan and now you're in the UAE. If you're a lawyer in England, there's only certain regions you can go and practice law. But with hospitality, it's nearly a passport to the world. I was thinking, what do you think is the offering to the youth of today to come into hospitality as a career?
Definitely. I think, you mentioned, one of the biggest benefits of this year is I have lived in, like I said, Japan. I was living in Bali for 2 years. I was in Maldives. I've been in Qatar, Saudi, Dubai. So quite a few different destinations. And I think the education you get from working within different cultures around the world, doing what you're passionate about, doing what you love, it's a gift that not everybody have and don't have this opportunity. So first of all, if you like the idea of working in service and hospitality, it's also about looking at what the long-term plan is, because you're right. The next job, being a server, might not be your dream job, right? But it might bring you one step closer to the job you want to do. And I think that's the way people should look at it, what is their end destination or what would they like to reach, and not just what is the next step. And I think young people today, they all want to be very successful, and we all want that. But of course there is a journey to get there. There's not really shortcuts to get there, but you're more dedicated you are, you're more structured, your plan is, you're faster you can get there, and you better opportunity you create for yourself to get there as well.
Yeah, I think you said it there. They want success, but sometimes they want it maybe quicker than the life tends to give it to people.
Yeah.
Perfect. So you said at the start that you're at a very unique property for your first position as GM. I'd love to hear a little bit more about 25 hours.
So 25 hours is your home away from home. It's meant to feel like a destination. It's an adventure. It's a place where you can enjoy, you can work from, you can sleep, you can eat. You can basically spend 25 hours in 25 hours. It's a hotel with 434 rooms, so it's actually a massive property. It's the first 25 hours outside of Europe and the first one in Middle East. It's also the new flagship for 25 hours, so it have a lot of great positions to it, and we carry also a big responsibility of taking 25 hours out of Europe and introducing it into a new region. So we want to keep the identity the same, but you also need to make sure that it fits into what people are expecting from such a brand here. Besides being a massive hotel, we have 5 F&B outlets, we have cocktail bar, we have a German beer garden, we have a co-working space. So there's a lot of different things going on in the hotel. There's activations throughout the day, every day, throughout the months, throughout the year. We have so many partnerships going on. There's constantly something moving. Whatever it's partnership with Salt Burger, there at the moment, or before that it was a small Ugly Noodles, which is just doing small pop-ups around Dubai. So we have like these cool partnerships going on.
Amazing. And it's within Ennismore as a group, which is to some extent new, but has a bit of a brand in itself now and is growing incredibly fast. How has it been like managing a property that's not in the core region like Europe with other 25 hours? You're a little bit separate, but now you're a flagship part of a new growing group.
Definitely. So being a part of Ennismore is super exciting. It is the world's largest lifestyle group and also the fastest growing. At the same time, it's a very small company, and there is a very short line towards our CEOs. There is easy to make decisions. It has the flexibility of being agile, moving fast. It's not a big corporate business where it's hard to make decisions, and that's what we benefit from here. Like on a day-to-day, we have people walking in from the street and saying, "This is cool, I want to do a partnership," and we make an agreement. We say, "Let's start this here next week." It also make a very hectic environment, and you are faced with different challenges, but it gives you completely new opportunities when you are operating a hotel, when you are able to make those sorts of decisions and just take ideas and run with them without many of the complications you often face in big corporate businesses.
Yeah, I think just on that point, we talked about the differences between Europe now and the Middle East and how 25 hours is coming here as its flagship. Do Ennismore have many properties in the Middle East, or is this one of their first as well? Or?
So we have SLS.
SLS, of course, yeah.
There is Hyde. Yeah. Mama Shelter is coming. Okay. So Uptown is coming as well. Mondrian in Abu Dhabi. And there is Mondrian in Qatar as well.
Perfect.
And there is a few projects more coming up in the region. So again, it's a very fast-growing company that we are working with.
And on that, because you've worked in so many regions, what were maybe the cultural differences you saw in hospitality between places like Europe, Denmark, Japan, and now the Middle East? Is there anything that really stands out as a difference in expectation from guests?
So like everywhere you go, it's a different, the culture is different and you have to adapt. And I think that was some of my first learning when you went outside. Like coming from Denmark, we think it's a very small country, and we often think like the way we are doing it is the right way to do things, and that's the way that everybody should do it because we are so successful, right? And then you go out and you find out in Japan they're doing something completely different in a different way. And if you try to be forceful about a certain procedure, a lot of time you're not going to get great results. The right way, like for me, is often like you need to anticipate, you need to see the culture, how is people around you, and how do they react to things. And then on a certain level, you need to adopt your own methods, your own strategy, your own leadership to be able to wiggle your way around in that specific place. And then I think every time you go to a new place, that process becomes a little bit easier because you see and you experience how did they do it, what is the next, this year was a little bit like that. You can pull experience from different places, and you become more adaptable into the new environment. Everywhere you go, there is something unique, there's something beautiful about the people, the specific culture. Again, people, that's what, at the end of the day, that's what we work with. That's hospitality, and you need to be able to understand the people around you to be able to drive any successful business.
Is there anything specific about the Middle East? Is there an expectation of luxury, of like 5-star high-end service, or?
Like, definitely there is differences. Like, for example, in Europe, if you go into a hotel in, let's say, Copenhagen, there's nobody coming to carry your bags for you, right? You're just sent, here's your room key, and then you can struggle all the way up, usually very narrow hallways as well. You come to Dubai, the expectation is there is somebody to take your luggage from you, and it's not a narrow hallway, it's a large space like you see around us here. Small things that makes a difference. The business is different in this part of the world. So Europe and Middle East, Asia for that matter, it's quite two different businesses almost running a hotel. So for sure, and that's where you have to make sure the identity of your product stays the same, even though that you offer a different service. It might be different people, but how do we stay true to the brand, to what is essential for 25 hours? And this is something, every time you take something, I think you have to be very protective of what is the brand and what should that brand, what is the meaning of that brand here, and what do you want people to understand from it. And one of the big things, like, people come here and they work from here, they sit and hang out, and they use our co-working space, they come and hang out in Nomad Cafe, and they all feel it's just, it feels like home. This feels nice, like I want to work from here. And that's what 25 hours should be. Like, it should be like home, but without the chores. Yeah. And I think that's what we are trying to achieve.
And finally, just moving on to kind of the future of 25 hours, maybe specifically in the Middle East, and then a bit about your own kind of future. Do you see yourself really leading the 25 hours and help the Ennismore team across the Middle East? Is that what the future holds? Or?
Well, there's definitely more 25 hours. And recently it was announced the 25 hours as a ski resort in Saudi.
In Trojan?
Exactly. So there is a NEOM project going on there. And it's super exciting. We have seen some of the first early drawings. So a ski resort in Saudi sounds magnificent. And then you put it 25 hours inside there. So that's going to be very exciting. And definitely there is more coming after the great success we have had after the opening of this property. So I think it's going to be a very exciting future for 25 hours.
Brilliant, Mads. Listen, thank you so much for sitting down with me and speaking. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.